Hello, I'm Marlis Arnold, trade show marketing consultant and author of the book, Build a Better Trade Show Image. Welcome to the Trade Show Insights podcast with news, tips, and tools to expand your knowledge of exhibiting. For today's episode, we're focusing on proper booth staff behavior. We'll cover some of the basics of what you should and should not be doing in your booth. Once upon a trade show, there was an empty 10 by 10 booth. About an hour after the show opened, two men appeared in the booth. They put up divider walls across the back and along both sides of the space, leaving the ugly backs of the side walls exposed to their neighbors, rising above the pipe and drape. Slowly, the booth staffers began to appear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all stood and chatted with each other, occasionally stopping to demonstrate their rather loud product, especially during presentations on the nearby event stage. As the days went by, the staffers discovered ways to make the time pass. 2 of them played cell phone tag, calling each other and blowing a whistle into the phone from various locations around the show floor. After enjoying a dinner of chicken wings in the booth, they decided to play a game of Nerf football. Now, obviously, they needed the practice, since the football landed mostly in the other exhibitors' booths. Fortunately, there was a big game on TV that weekend, so they were able to watch it in the booth on their mini-screen TV. By the last day of the show, the staffers realized they were way behind on their goal of qualified leads. So, they began to chase customers down the aisles, laughing, "Yes, I'm following you! Hey, do you want to help me win a steak dinner?" Believe it or not, this sad tale is not fiction. It's a true story of one company's exhibiting practices witnessed at one particular show. The exhibitors in this example made so many mistakes, it's hard to know where to begin. From the start, they got off on the wrong foot by arriving late to set up. When they finally did arrive, they made a horrible impression on their neighboring booths, as well as the attendees who were already walking the show floor. Sadly, this is not the only example of bad booth staff behavior out there. We've all seen them. They plunk down their 6-foot table across the front of their booth space, fill it with literature, then sit down in their chairs behind the table. 3 sins, at least, committed right there. It's amazing how many people spend all that money to buy a booth space, yet don't exert any effort into maximizing their investment. This scenario, sadly, is seen at far too many shows. Perhaps the reason is not a lack of interest, but rather a lack of knowledge. So, to help with the education of your exhibitors, here are the 10 Commandments of Trade Show Booth Staffing. Commandment number 1, you shall not sit. Yes, show organizers usually provide chairs. Don't use them. Of course your feet will hurt after 6 or 8 or 12 hours on the show floor. So, take a break. You start to lose effectiveness after hours of looking at the same booth across the aisle and saying the same things to dozens of people over and over. So get away from the booth, even if it's just for a few minutes. You'll feel much more refreshed when you come back to work. Commandment number 2, you shall not create barriers to traffic. This is the classic table at the front of the booth scenario mentioned earlier. Instead, place your table at the back of the booth or along the side. Better yet, if you don't need a 6-foot table, use a smaller one or just a small island podium. Also, be careful not to use other props that might keep people from coming into your booth. Commandment number 3, you shall not eat or drink. What message do you send to a prospect if you're eating when they walk up to your booth? They will probably assume you're too busy to talk to them and move on. Also, when you have food or beverages in your booth, there's always the chance of spilling something on your materials. Going back to Commandment 1, take a break when you need a bite to eat. Commandment number 4, you shall not accost people in the aisles. This is generally viewed as a threat to most people. There's nothing wrong with initiating a conversation, but learn the proper ways to engage visitors. Study body language to know when someone feels threatened. You might need to tone down your approach if a person is shy or insecure. Commandment number 5, you shall not talk to your coworkers or on cell phones. You're not paying to talk to people you see every day. You're paying to talk to people you might not otherwise meet. Now, obviously, there may be times when traffic is slow or you need to communicate something to one another. That's fine. But remember, when someone begins to approach your booth, cut it off immediately and focus on that visitor. Commandment number 6, you shall not fill your booth with staffers. Remember Commandment 2? Sometimes those barriers are created by staff members. If you have a 10 by 10 booth, you only need a couple of staffers. Keep in mind, once the visitors start to come into your booth, it will fill up fast. If you have 4 or 5 of your own people in the booth, there's no room for the visitors. So guess what? They won't come in. Commandment number 7, you shall not put your hands in your pockets. Now, this probably seems like kind of a strange commandment, but think about it, especially guys. What do you usually have in your pockets? Change, keys, things that make noise. So if you really have a problem with this, wear clothes that don't have pockets. You want to remember to keep your body language as open as possible, encouraging visitors to stop and talk. You also don't want to be annoying them by jingling change in your pockets. Commandment number 8, you shall not put out every piece of literature you have. Borrowing from the law of supply and demand, if you have 200 pieces of literature, people probably won't take any. If you have 20 or 30, they probably will. Likewise, they certainly won't if it's the last one on the table. No one wants to take the last item of anything. Commandment number 9, you shall not leave early or arrive late. If you pay to be at the booth for 8 hours, stay there. You never know who might come by at the last minute. Remember, top executives are very busy people. They might not get there until the end of the day. If you've stayed while your competitors haven't, then you've just edged up on the list of companies for that person to do business with. And finally, Commandment number 10, you shall smile. No matter how hard you try, nothing you say means as much if it's not accompanied by a smile. For more tips on booth behavior, check Chapter 6 in my book, Build a Better Trade Show Image. And be sure to check out the show notes at www.imagespecialist.com/tradeshowinsights for links to additional information. Today's episode of Trade Show Insights contains excerpts from Build a Better Trade Show Image and is protected by copyright. You may share this recording with colleagues as long as it is copied in its entirety and is not used for commercial purposes. Well, that's it for this edition of Trade Show Insights. I'm Marlis Arnold, Image Specialist. Thanks for listening.